guests, ladies and gentlemen in the gallery, may we rise for the Speaker of Council, Councillor Margaret Arnold.
Good morning. Can we please observe a moment of silence for prayer or meditation? Thank you. You may be seated. Councillors, please note that the Acting Secretary to Council had an urgent family matter this morning to take care of. As a result, is not present today. Therefore, I would ask one of the table staff to assist me with reading the notice and tabling the items for the duration of today's meeting. Judith Moremi will do that.
It is hereby notified that the continuation of the 21st Ordinary Meeting of the City of Johannesburg Municipality on debate on the State of the City address is held on Friday, the 3rd of May 2024 at 10:00 hours at the Constance Conny Bapela Council Chamber, Metropolitan Center, Braamfontein. First item, opening.
Thank you. Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Kabelo Kwamanda, the Whip of Council, Councillor N.G. Zungu, all political party leaders and whips, members of the Mayoral Committee, chairpersons of Section 79 committees, fellow councillors, the City Manager, Mr. Floyd Brink, officials of the City of Johannesburg, residents of the City of Johannesburg, members of the media present, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the continuation of the 21st Ordinary Meeting of the City of Johannesburg Municipality on the debate of the State of the City address presented by the Executive Mayor yesterday. Councillors, please note that I have received a request from the Whip of Council in terms of Rule 65(1) and 4 of the Standing Rules and Orders of Council. Please note that I have consulted with legal and they have advised that the request is in order. Therefore, the Whip of Council will be afforded an opportunity to make a statement after the leave of absence. At this point, councillors, I will ask legal to confirm quorum, because from where I'm sitting, the chamber seems to be empty. I would want to confirm quorum, and we'll do that for the next 5 minutes. But that doesn't mean that you that are inside here need to leave so that we are going to struggle again. So we're going to get those that are outside and those that are not here to come in. Can I ask for that? 10:10, we will see that others walk in. So if you're inside, you remain inside. Councillor, your hand is up.
Thank you, Speaker. I forgot to sign the register, so I quickly want to step out for that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, if you haven't signed the register, sign the register. But other than that, if you've done that, stay put, please. Thank you. Councillors, people are signing. They are signing outside, so we'll just allow them to do that so that when we come in, we are sure who we have and who we don't have. I'm just asking, can we have patience? Thank you. About another 5 minutes or so. Thank you. Can we start settling down? Can we settle down, councillors? Councillor Zach, Councillor Belinda, Councillor Brenda. There's a councillor that said I'm Blondie. That councillor is Papa. He must sit. Which student? Councillor Sisedenyane, can we sit down? I want us to be seated so that we are ready for our debate. I know 157.
So it's the numbers are right.
Yeah. Councillors, we have 157 councillors that have signed, and I believe others are still walking in. So we therefore do correct. Councillors at the back there by Action SA, please. Councillor Peterson.
Item 2, applications for leave of absence.
I've received the following apologies. Councillor Nontenja, urgent private business. Councillor Abdul, yesterday we had a call that she was in an accident, but she's okay. Councillor Magwenchu for urgent private business. Councillor Mpolabosho for urgent private business. 25 EFF members for political party business. So we only have 4 EFF councillors today. Any other apologies from the floor? Councillor Caldine, then Councillor Avante Smith. Councillor Caldine.
Thank you, Speaker. Councillor Lewis Simonsa, Family Bereavement. MMC Kenny Kunene, Party Business. MMC Anthea Leach will arrive, but she'll arrive a bit late. Thank you.
Councillor Avante Smith.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning. Councillor Tyrell Myers is ill. Councillor Stuart Murray also ill. Councillor Ahmed ill. Councillor Jacobs ill. Councillor Masera, private business. Councillor Mulisani also ill. Councillor Sherman not well. Councillor De Rocha not well. Councillor Rayton is on private business. Councillor Benjamin is ill, Councillor Hughes is on private business, and Councillor Shabalala is ill. And then I've got a couple of early leaves, if that's okay. Councillor Reddy will leave at 3 p.m. Councillor van der Merwe will leave at 1 p.m. Councillor Councillor Rambani, Lowe and Stewart will be leaving to do some party business. Councillor Shea and Councillor Howitz will leave by 4:30 if we're not completed due to religious reasons. And if our Muslim caucus can please take some time off to go for prayers today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Hopefully we will be finished before all that time if we are really constructive in what we do. Councillor Mhlongo and Councillor Nkonko, please. And this side of on my left-hand side, there's a lot of rambling. Councillor Morema, and then behind you, I think it's Councillor Zita, and then we move to the councillor from, I can't see your name, from Green, nah? from Action SA, and then there's a hand, Councillor Mkonza, and then, oh, partner, Councillor Mabaso. In that fashion, can we do that? Councillor Marema.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Thank God it's Friday. I rise to table the following leave of absence and request to leave early if the meeting is not done at that particular time. Councillor Ne, ill health. Councillor Tambani, ill health. Councillor Ramafiking, ill health. Councillor Maswazi, family bereavement. Councillor Supe, ill health. Councillor Ndou, political business. And if by, I think it's 3 o'clock, let me just quickly be sure, MMC Masuku, if we're not done, at 1400 hours, which is 2 o'clock, she requests that we leave. And obviously I'll leave after all the DA councillors have left the chamber. Thank you.
Councillor Lorraine.
Councillor Zita, Speaker.
Oh, sorry, Zita.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I just want to correct Councillor Ngwenya. Councillor Ngwenya, it's ill health. It's not party business. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Zita. Councillor Mkonza. Was it Mkonza or Green? Councillor Green. David's Green.
Thank you, Speaker. Councillors Edwards, Party Business, Councillor Johnson, Ill Health, Councillor Mkunu, Ill Health, Councillor Jainuddin, Ill Health, Councillor Visler, Party Business. And then these following councillors will be leaving at 11:30, Councillor Chuma, Councillor Liebenberg, Councillor Nsidi, and Councillor Davids Green. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Green. Councillor Mkonza.
Shalom, shalom, Speaker. Thank you very much. Councillor Harris, ill health. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor, yeah, Mabaso.
No, thank you very much, Speaker. Greetings to yourselves, the Executive Mayor and colleagues. Speaker, I just want to submit the apology for Councillor Mkize and Councillor Kanyile due to council business, and Councillor Makuba has a daughter's appointment. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mabaso. Can we approve the apologies as submitted? Thank you.
Item 3, statement by the Whip of Council.
Whip of Council.
Angibingelele kuwe Somlomo. Ngiphinde ngibingelele kuwe the Executive Mayor yaseGoli. Ngibingelele ososwebo bonke benhlangana ezihlukahlukene kulendlu. Ngiphinde futhi ngibingelele amalunga akho Mayor ekomiti lakho. Ngibingelele icukuthwane ezisivakashele namhlanje.
Whip, can you just stop there? Whoever's phone is going off, can you please switch off your phone? Can we please respect the House? Thank you, Whip.
Ngibingelele osihlalo bamakomiti bengxenye
yamashumi ayisikhombisa nesishiyagalolunye. Ngibingelele nje bonke abahlali baseGoli, Speaker, kanye namakhansela wonke akhona ngaphakathi. Speaker, I rise to speak under Rule 65, subsection 1. Speaker, maybe let me start by extending my gratitude to yourself for allowing me this opportunity to speak to our councillors this morning. Speaker, maybe I should start by refreshing the memories of our fellow colleagues that according to the Municipal Structures Act and the Code of Conduct of Councillors, a councillor may not be in areas to the municipality for rates and service charges for a period longer than 3 months. Therefore, failure to make the necessary arrangements with the city's finance department, nor ensuring that your accounts are up to date, will result in a breach of this code. Councillors who are in areas to the city for more than 3 months do not only contravene the code of conduct, but also act illegally by contravening this act. We should not be standing in council requesting or encouraging councillors to make a commitment and the necessary arrangements, because it is mandatory for all of us to be responsible and pay our dues to the city of Johannesburg. These rates and taxes contribute towards us accelerating service delivery within all our respective wards. Somlomo, we do understand that this economic times are hard. However, we expect councillors together with us to contribute towards paying for their rates and services, just as much as they are paying for the DSTVs, the Netflix, and so on. We as councillors were expected to encourage our respective communities to pay for their rates, and how do we fulfill that task if ourselves were in areas and do not show any commitment whatsoever? Somlomo, ngizobe ngenza iphutha mangabe ngingabonganga kumakhansela omkhandlu waseGoli who have committed themselves in making sure that they continue paying for services. I would say we're sitting at about 93% of our councillors who've made sure that they continue paying for the services. Ngiphinde futhi nginxenxe, Speaker, amakhansela lawa aselele emuva, about 7% of them, ukuthi basukume benze inhlelo zokuthi ngempela bawakhokhele ama-services. Should this fail, Speaker, because I think we work with the code, I think I've stated before that you cannot go for more than 3 months. And then it means we must then go for disciplinary measures. But then I think my call to all our fellow councillors is to say, let us commit, let us make these arrangements so that we are all good and we are not found wanting. Somlomo, ngiyazibongela kakhulu. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whip. I think we've heard, and if we are in the red, let us do the right thing, and let's ensure that we are not found wanting. And I'm saying we, I'm including all of us. Let us not find ourselves wanting. Thank you very much, Chief Whip. I also just want to read the regulations. Councillors in arrears to the municipality for rates and service charges. A councillor must settle his or her municipal account for rates and service charges in accordance with the credit control policy of the municipality. The municipal manager must in writing immediately inform the councillor when the councillor is in arrears to the municipality for rates and service charges for a period that is longer than 2 months, even if the councillor has been newly elected to the municipal council concerned, and request the councillor to settle the account and any arrears without further delay. Apologies. A councillor who is in arrears to the municipality for rates and service charges may arrange or agree with the municipality in writing to settle his or her municipal account for such rates and service by means of a monthly stop order payment. A councillor who is in arrears to the municipality for rates and service charges for a period longer than 3 months is in breach of the code. I want to leave it there. I thank you, and we are now going to proceed with the day's business. Thank you once again, Chief Whip.
Item 4, debate on the state of the city address by political parties.
We'll go according to the speaker's list. From the DA, Councillor N. van Dijk.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you to the residents. I greet you in good faith, residents, and to the councillors, all protocol observed. I want to thank the Mayor for his speech yesterday. He said he tells the truth, and certainly the lack of optimism and expectation in his speech yesterday was the truth. But to ask residents to show resiliency when Johannesburg residents are resilience fatigued is not going to build pliability to what it is that they face. A city of broken pipes, power lines, and dreams. You ask our residents to report leaks as it's their responsibility. As your own ward councillors will tell you in the GLU, residents are logging the faults, but teams are taking days to come to only do patchwork jobs that are doomed to burst on repeat. Residents across every classification of suburbs go days without water, from Joburg East to Haldecrane to Eldos. You mentioned the water security strategy, a document that was drafted in 2022 under the DA government, but not implemented until the water crisis of 2024. And with fast collapse of our water system, the strategy needs regular review and input from EIS committee. The entity itself needs 27 billion, but in the previous and upcoming cycle CapEx budgets, it sits at around 1 billion. A lofty amount, but nowhere near what is needed when one considers the failed and delayed CapEx projects like that of what we see in Woodmead, a project that is 18 months overdue, or the Randburg Water Depot that stands empty still. Thankfully, Mr. Mayor, you highlighted that we have the Brixton Crosby project, a project that the DA is very proud of because it comes from our own councillors, Councillor Steer and Councillor Sherman, and the DA government. And by 2026, these dry areas will once again have water. It's projects like this that will allow Joburg Water to keep some of its value. It's lost 59% of its value, a factor that may not have happened if the city continued to replace pipes at the pace of the DA, 150 kilometers versus 28 kilometers. Reinstatements, Mr. Mayor, the kickball between Johannesburg Water and JRA, the scourge that swallows vehicles and takes lives, is now getting your attention. We thank you. Each councillor in this room will endeavour to now send you a list of the hundreds and hundreds of reinstatements that plague our wards. Mr. Mayor, you highlight that safety is a priority for you and that solar high masts are being taken across multiple suburbs. I applaud you on this, Mr. Mayor. Now it's just time to get the hundreds of streetlights between each of those solar masts across all the suburbs to start working, as residents wait months for these repairs. Again, CapEx a hard truth for City Power. A mere 1.3 billion for the 30 years of no maintenance across, as Sebenza substation continues to fail the residents of Joburg East. Bryan North substation that has been on the cards for months still stands a tripping monstrosity in the Bryanston economic heartland. No mention, though, of true growth in SCADA network. We are very happy for the reprieve from load shedding, but 30th of May approaches. And once again, we will find us, sadly, in this reprieve. City Power plants out of service have gone up, but not down. This is the time when maintenance should be happening. The plants out of service across our suburbs that constantly trip should be going down, not up. The same thing that's going up, calls being closed. To manage your stats, to make the entity look good. Residents are logging calls for the same outage 6, 7, 8, 9 times. It's a real problem, Mr. Mayor, and when we see what's happening, we see that the provincial government is putting its hand into city power. Let them rather focus on their own problems. Let city power deal with itself. Mr. Mayor, it's not good enough to just give access to services.
58 seconds, ma'am.
You need to deliver them too. Yes, refuse collection is up, but it's thanks to the quick-thinking pick-it-up senior executives who managed to complete most RCR days, despite having no fleet and despite our landfill dumps being completely full. Not one of the entities can present a turnaround strategy. Every service delivery entity is losing billions a year and are just pleading for you to grant business rescue status. The city entities are broke and broken, and the GLU stands complicit. The Democratic Alliance stands ready to rescue South Africa and Gauteng.
Action SA, Councillor Ntembu.
Ngiyabonga somlomo Councillor Margaret Arnolds, Chief Whip of Council Councillor Zungu, Chairpersons of Section 79 Oversight Committees, the Fabulous 44, City Manager Mr. Floyd Brink, members of the media, distinguished guests, residents of the city of Johannesburg, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Speaker, gone are the days where leaders of society applaud and giving standing ovations to mediocrity. Our democracy has grown tenfold since '94, and we are in a very good position to call each other into order. By so doing, we stand a chance of creating a better city that the generations that will come after us can be proud of. Madam Speaker, yesterday the Executive Mayor delivered yet another State of the City address, a most prestigious moment in our city, because it gives an overview of where we are coming from as the city and where we are going. But most importantly, it gives us a clear sense of how we have navigated some of the trials and tribulations in the past. Madam Speaker, such an occasion cannot be taken for granted or utilized as a gimmick. Madam Speaker, when GLU took over last year, as Action SA, we committed to be a constructive opposition party, a role that we have played to the best of our ability. Speaker of Council, it is no secret that the city is in deep crisis. Unfortunately, the Executive Mayor's speech exacerbates residents' fear. The Mayor spent more than an hour blowing hot air. Residents of the city do not need another Shakespeare Executive Mayor. They need an Executive Mayor. Madam Speaker, I remember vividly the promises he made during his maiden speech last year on the 6th of June 2023. This is some of the things he said, and I would like to quote: "Fighting and defending crime is a top priority for the government of local unity. To bolster our efforts in fighting crime, we plan to recruit approximately 2,000 crime wardens. Through the multidisciplinary operation led by the Public Safety Department, we will restore the rule of law in the inner city and ensure that the safety of all who live or work in the inner city. We have since introduced a new initiative and a partnership with the private sector that will give our JMPD access to over 5,000 smart CCTV cameras to allow us to monitor, track, trace crime suspects and perpetrators across the city." Close quote. He further said that the city will implement a geyser installation training program in all regions of the city, targeting 140 residents as part of the comprehensive skills development strategy. As we sit here, it is difficult to account for the commitments that he made and even receive a standing ovation from the left side. One day, colleagues, you will dance in a funeral. Madam Speaker, I have given this background deliberately simply because some of what he said yesterday seemed like it was just a cut and paste from his maiden speech. Madam Speaker, the executive mayor went to speak about the Joburg nearing a landmark success of having 10,000 units. Madam Speaker, Joburg is a mess. I'm not even going to touch on the 373 million loss in the previous financial year. Joburg was supposed to be one of the best revenue generators for the city of Johannesburg. However, it cannot do so optimally because it is riddled with maladministration. Residents in Pennyville in New Canada have been complaining about appalling standards of their units for as much as we can remember. But what does this city do? It turns a blind eye to their plea. Yet they come here and preach about rigorous revenue collections. As Action SA, we urge you to do the basic things right. Maintain and listen to the tenants and the residents. Executive Mayor, stop being arrogant. Madam Speaker, City of Johannesburg has more than 6 million residents, majority of them being the youth. A lot of these young people have one or more formal qualifications, yet they are unemployed. And for the executive mayor to boast about 594 youth who have interned with the city is ludicrous, to say the least. 350 bursaries that have been given through their youth programs is an insult to millions of young people who are languishing in the street of our city. Madam Speaker, we are facing water crisis in the city of Johannesburg. In many occasions, our residents came and they would picket in a quest to find solutions. Our residents in Mayfair, Crosby, Randburg, Soweto, and other parts of the city are communicating with us. And as the city, we cannot continue ignoring them. These people need an administration that can be able to give them timelines of when this problem will end, as opposed to an administration that will state the general obvious. Madam Speaker, I can tell you now, the GLU has no plan to address the water crisis in the city of Johannesburg. But as Action SA, we are here to give them pragmatic solutions, not this so-called security water nton. Johannesburg Water needs 27 billion to address this backlog. Yet the executive mayor comes here and says, report water leak. We are not undermining your request, executive mayor, but we are saying upgrade the city's infrastructure and stop telling us about the high demand every day. Invest in reservoirs. Change these asbestos pipes and replace them with PVCs. Madam Speaker, we have noted some strides that the city have made to mitigate load shedding. We understand that City Power has lost more than 1.8 billion in the previous financial year. Had they used this money efficiently, we would be singing a different tune today. As Action SA, we are still waiting for the feasibility study on the integration of Soweto residents from Eskom to City Power. This motion passed in council in the year 2022, submitted by Action SA. Madam Speaker, GLU has no plan in fixing crime and illegal mining in the city of Johannesburg, not mentioning the illegal foreign nationals. This administration only reacts to imminent threats just for cameras. Hence, you saw some MMC going down to the mines, risking their lives for a mere selfie. I'm not going to delve deeper into this matter because the mayor presented nothing in terms of his plans to fight crime, except installing CCTV cameras, something that he copied from his boss, the real mayor of the city, Panyaza Lusofi. However, Madam Speaker, I will refer the mayor to the time where we had MMC David Dembe, MMC Funzi Ngobeni, MMC Nkoli Mbundu. The city was in a better state and the CBD was much better than today.
Councillors, can we please listen to the speech?
Now
carry on, Councillor, you are protected.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Councillors, please.
Now our city has gone to the dogs. The rule of law has escaped. People are hijacking buildings in broad daylight. The city
Councillor,
is...
Can you please take a seat, ma'am? But it's a speech. I'm being guided by legal. It is a speech. It is a speech, Councillor. I'm being guided by legal. Carry on, Councillor. I'm guided by legal. No, Councillor, I didn't give you a chance. Carry on, Councillor.
Ngiyabonga Somlomo for the protection. Now our city has gone to the dogs. The rule of law has escaped. People are hijacking buildings in broad daylight. The city is literally burning under your watch, yet you have no plan except reacting to fires. The mayor and his team are clueless of running this great city called Johannesburg. JRA must do better. I know they've lost more than 429 million in the previous financial year. So what the executive mayor said about JRA's success is just a drop in an ocean. Madam Speaker, allow me to say, the executive mayor must stop quoting Martin Luther King to fit his narrative. The city is not moving at all, executive mayor. It's stand still, kahle kahle. But let me end by saying, our people, our residents in the city of Johannesburg, must go vote for Action SA on the 29th of May. Yes. For a better Johannesburg and a better South Africa. For insourcing, closed borders, return of rule of law, and our spaza shops in the townships. Yes. Madam Speaker, we find solace in Incwadi Yamahubo 23 verse 4. Noma ngihamba esigodini sothunzi lokufa, angisabi okubi, ngokuba wena unami, intongo yakho nondondolo lwakho ziyangiduduza, asinavalo. Thank you. Yes.
Can I, Councillor Mokome from Cope. Councillor Mokome from Cope. Councillor, please. When we announced your councillor, you didn't do that. So we are calling on Cope, so please don't do that. Please don't, Councillor, you don't do that. Thank you, Councillor Mokome.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. All protocol observed. Madam Speaker, the Congress of the People, COPE, as part of the Government of National Unity in the city of Johannesburg, welcomes the State of the City address by the Executive Mayor, Kabelo Kwamanda. Madam Speaker, to the previous two speakers, Councillor Van Wyk and lately Councillor Mthembu, the center is still holding in the GLU in the city of Johannesburg. The GDS 2040 vision incorporating the 2024-2025 IDP reviews in terms of service delivery, changing dynamics, and innovations is an important anchor as we move forward to execute our political mandates. Madam Speaker, the interventions as mentioned by the executive mayor, amongst others, included the transport master plan as an integrated transport solution in Region G. JRA servicing more roads, road infrastructure, and filling up more potholes. Capital projects prioritized with specific reference to the water supply strategy. Yes, Madam Speaker, the load shedding had to come to an end sooner or later. And indeed, the partnership between ESCOM and the provincial government to capacitate and empower City Power to add 50 megawatts to City Power will be a milestone. Yes, Madam Speaker, JOSCO must get its act together. And indeed, in this regard, Madam Speaker, what they've done in terms of the 10,000 housing units will alleviate to an extent the backlog that we have in our database. Madam Speaker, our interventions to curb the ravaging crime which has engulfed the city lately must be addressed as a matter of urgency. Yes, the 5,000 CCTV cameras in strategic areas within the city will, to an extent, help us towards that mission. Madam Speaker, the Zamazamas have been a problem in this city. And to an extent, I think, Executive Mayor, we must now say enough is enough. Can we reach out to the provincial authority to link with the President to call in the army to curb this menace in the city? They are now about to finish us off. The new era of hope will re-energize our collective efforts to steer and consolidate our mission as an African world-class city. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor De Lange, Freedom Front Plus.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. All protocol observed. I noted down about 25 points of interest from the Mayor's speech, and I'm only going to focus on that for today. The Mayor spoke about Johannesburg being the economic heartbeat of South Africa, but it's still one of the metros with the highest unemployment rate in the country. He also spoke about resilience and a stable city. I agree. Johannesburgers are very resilient, but let's give it another spin. With all the underground activity, I'm not talking about crime, I'm talking about the Zamazamas, we are going to sit with serious instability in the years to come. He spoke about 6 million residents within the city, but still, a lot of those are unemployed and living on social grants, with any hope for the future and the future for their children. Then he spoke about 30 years after apartheid, there is still economic exclusion within the city. Now, Madam Speaker, I wonder who has been running South Africa for the last 30 years. JOSCO, 10,000 units, but you must work from the back to the front. There's a lot of these units that are not in good condition anymore, and it's basically not up to OHASA standards for people to occupy those units. Then we spoke about investment attraction, and oh my word, we all know that we had to adjust our investment attraction from 37 billion to 19 billion rand this financial year. Speaker, that means the city of Johannesburg is no longer investment friendly. Then water supply. This is the elephant in the room. The system is so compromised due to backdated maintenance that we will soon sit with water shedding programs within the city. And if the Lesotho Highland Water Scheme closes for maintenance, I want to see what's going to happen to the infrastructure within the city with all the leaks. We're not going to be able to deliver those services. Electricity supply. We are aware of billions, hundreds of billions of backlogged services that needs to be done, or maintenance, through the city power network, and it's not going to change. Violent crime. Madam Speaker, through you, I'm very sorry, JMPD is incapable of handling serious violent crimes and to curb that. And the South African Police Service has been failing these citizens for many years. Increase in informal settlements. Why is this, Madam Speaker? Because the current government cannot do proper border control, and the government is incapable of building proper housing for the poorest of the poor. GDS 2040 strategy, we will wait and see through the rounds of IDPs that took place if all these requests will be funded or not. As 68% on service delivery targets, Madam Speaker, that is just not good enough. Skills development, through the Economic Development Section 79, it has become clear that the targets for training artisans are failing miserably. Why? We don't have proper trainers and we don't have proper mentorship through these programs. Unqualified audits, this is just mediocre, and the city keeps on stumbling financial year to financial year with the same kind of rating. Municipal rates and taxes. Madam Speaker, the residents of this city is tired of paying high fees for rates and taxes, and they do not get a proper flow of electricity and water to their residents. The budget adjustment took place. Why? Because the grant funding were cut, because of underspending. Again, Madam Speaker, we cannot do business like this. Capital projects and spending. To spend the money is one thing, but what is bad business? If you spend these money on substandard contractors that do shoddy work and that doesn't complete these projects properly, especially on road maintenance. Water security, Madam Speaker. The Mayor mentioned that we need 27 billion to actually service our current system. I think it's much more. And the question stands, how long must the citizens be happy with substandard water supply? It's going to wait another 20 years or so, maybe. Madam Speaker, then he spoke about the energy generation capacity. How long will this take, Madam Speaker? And the problem is, even if we have Eskom flowing currently into the city power network is so dilapidated, the end user will never get the benefit. Madam Speaker, then on JRA, 58 kilometers were paved, new roads during the last
50
seconds,
financial year.
Councillor.
Thank you. But Madam Speaker, what about the 4,500 kilometers of roads that needs proper maintenance within the city? Illegal mining, Madam Speaker, what must we do about that? We're not doing enough, and we're going to have serious geological problems in the next few years if we don't sort that out. In closing, Madam Speaker, I've got a new project for the city. It's called the Illegal Slumlords Project. Madam Speaker, if the city doesn't take care of this, we're going to have serious problems in the future with disasters, burning buildings, all kinds of things, socio-economic problems, drug abuse, prostitution. The GLU must take note. The city is broken, Madam Speaker, and is in dire need of rebuilding and repair. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bidkow from the DA.
Madam Speaker, all protocol observed. There are so many issues, but I will only speak to one. Even though we serve on the same council and live in the same city, I have the feeling that the mayor and I are living in parallel universes. I say so because listening to his speech yesterday, I wondered what he was talking about most of the time. As what I experience daily as ward councillor and what he describes as the state of the city are as far from each other as Grimm's fairy tales and the reality. However, reality as to the state of dementia gripping this administration became absolutely clear when the cause of our sewers polluting the rivers was blamed almost completely on the Zama-Zamas. Madam Speaker, through you, I would like to point out to the Mayor that Joburg lies on a watershed. And the crocodile system that is so very highly polluted with E. coli is not affected by Zama-Zamas at all. In actual fact, when investigating the causes of the huge amount of sewer blockages and spills that are caused mostly by root ingress, caused by a total lack of maintenance over years and years.
50 seconds.
And abuse of the system by residents through lack of knowledge and understanding. The only activity that is found to be willful destruction is the occasional breaking of pipes by vagrants to sift for valuables. However, the cause of these constant polluting river spills may be, the fact remains that we are the main cause of polluting our river systems, north, south, east and west, to such an extent that we're extremely close to a point of no return. But according to yesterday's address, it's not our fault. It's the Zama-Zamas. Because after all, we are such a successful city that the total collapse of the infrastructure must be a figment of our imagination. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Mabaso from the IFP.
Thank you very much, Speaker, my partner.
Thank you, partner.
The product of the IFP Youth Brigade. The executive mayor, the MMCs, councillors, the guests at the gallery, colleagues. When the executive mayor quoted Martin Luther King Jr. in saying, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving." When I heard this quote from the executive mayor, I got worried. I wondered whether this was an admission of failure. Walking nor crawling should never be an option for the city of Johannesburg. We are the heartbeat of the nation, as you alluded. If we walk or crawl, the nation will be on its knees. The state of the city should give account on the previous commitments, acknowledge challenges, provide solutions, which then becomes a program of action. Talk to existing projects and those in the pipeline and give projections on the completion time. State of the city should bring all stakeholders together, create an environment for everyone to play a meaningful role in the development of the city, give confidence to businesses, attract investment. So ilom so onje oshodile speeching sakho Mayor. Let's appreciate the progress made on the establishment of youth directorates. It's a step toward the right direction. We support all initiatives that seeks to empower young people. Needless to say, it's long overdue. In fact, it should not just be a compliance exercise to establish this directorate, but it should form part of our core functioning as a municipality. Henceforth, sufficient allocation of resources must be prioritized to this directorate. Speaker, the infrastructure backlog remains a challenge. Our funding model should comprehend the demand for both the development and maintenance of our infrastructure. Over and above revenue enhancement program for the city, we need to have a monitoring mechanism on the expenditure performance of our grants from National Treasury. Rebasing exercise demonstrate our inability to raise enough capital to support our programs. 27 billion backlog on water infrastructure is a testament that we need strategies to close the gap. Residents want to see the city actively engage in practical solutions. They will never understand strategies on paper. They will only understand when they see water running out of their taps. when roads are tarred and resurfaced, when their lights are on, when traffic lights are functioning, when houses are being constructed, when drainage system is fully functional, when bridges are well maintained, when bucket system is completely eradicated. There is an existing arrangement between the Premier and the city as indicated by the Mayor. We saw the Premier during the launch of the flare-up substation. I also witnessed the Premier running a program replacing transformers, which is the function of the city. Human settlement is a concurrent function of both the provincial and the national government, but the Premier refused to attend to the residents of the Proof Hostel when they asked to meet with him, citing that these hostels does not belong to the province but belongs to the city. But I wonder if these transformers belong to the provincial government. Hostels might not be his competence, but any human settlement development is within his line of responsibility. The city has more than 312 informal settlements, housing backlog of approximately 500,000. Whatever arrangement you have with Premier Panyaza, as you mentioned on your address, EM, should have been with human settlement, which is his area of responsibility in terms of the Housing Act. Development in hostels were initiated by provincial government. It was later handed over to the city, and after they had realized that they've made a blunder, they constructed without building plans approved, no township establishment application was considered, no bulk infrastructure upgrade plan was presented, and after the engagement you had with the residents of the Proof Hostel, I expected to see words of hostel multiple times in your speech, but unfortunately, not even a single mention. Lo msebenzi uma siwenza akufanele kube sengathi sigcina nje icala, kodwa kufuneka siwenze ngoba kufuneka sibuyise ithemba ebantwini baseJohannesburg, and sibakhombisa ukuthi lo masipala ulikhathalele ikusasa labo. Ngiyabonga kakhulu, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Mkonza from the ACDP.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Allow me to first acknowledge our Almighty God, eternally existent in three persons, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. I greet you all in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. All right. Thank you, Executive Mayor. Thank you to all the councillors. So allow me to first quote 2 Peter 2, verse 19. In the New Living Translation, it reads as follows. They promise freedom, but they themselves are slaves of sin and corruption. For you are a slave to whatever controls you. Let us earnestly consider the concerns of the Johannesburg residents, recognizing that they are not sustained solely by liberal values or philosophies. It's time to move beyond the narrative of perpetual victimhood by continuously attributing our challenges to apartheid, especially when we commemorate 30 years of democracy. Let us acknowledge the good things, Executive Mayor. As the ACDP acknowledge the following. The overworked disaster management team under the leadership of Mr. Mlaudzi, the extra 50 megawatts and the planned 100 megawatts by the financial year end, the planned percentage increase in accessibility to electricity, water is commendable. We, however, have the following concerns and questions. What's the city's plan for the residents who still live in informal settlements? Addressing the 10.2 of residents living in informal settlement is crucial for ensuring a thriving city. Neglecting this segment undermines the inclusivity and sustainability necessary for overall urban prosperity. The rise in informal settlement can be attributed to the apparent disregard by the GILU government towards addressing land grabs, a factor directly contributing to the proliferation of informal settlements. Mayor, would you care to comment on this observation? Your speech was silent about this. Do you have any plans to eradicate informal settlement to restore the dignity of our residents? It is concerning that the public is being misled about Joshko's alleged progress. As you have mentioned, that this city's entity is on track, when the reality may be quite different, by not addressing the unacceptable low level of revenue or rental collection. Residents are left uninformed about critical financial issues that directly impact the functioning of the sustainability of housing initiatives. This lack of transparency undermines trust and hinders meaningful progress towards addressing housing challenges. On the question of legitimacy, shared ownership, and accountability, how many councillors and the city staff are defaulting on their monthly obligations? What plans have been put in place to ensure that councillors and the city staff are not defaulting on rates to set a good example to the residents of the city? We cannot claim to serve where else we are not practicing what we preach. It was last year, 14 June, when the ACDP raised this issue of consumer accounts on councillors, the credit control and debt management policy. On that side, they were howling and shouting at us, but today we are sitting at 2.7 million, and today the chief whip was speaking about it. The ACDP raised it last year, 14 June. Can you please elaborate on the city's strategy to enhance capital expenditure? Specifically, I'm interested in understanding the initiatives, policies, and investment plans aimed at boosting capital expenditure and how they'll align with the city's long-term development goals. Can we also please have a report on the return on investment on the 14 million paid to the 350 beneficiaries of the Youth Directorate? Can we please also have a breakdown of the 47,000 potholes that were fixed? What is the city's short-term plan to deal with the gang violence in Westbury, El Dorado Park, and others? Just recently in Westbury, in just the weekend of the 13th of April, 10 people were shot, four of them fatally. The community has been gripped by fear and it has been appealing to the government to call in the army. What is the city's response to this emerging crisis we see in our communities? How many people were evicted? Because yesterday you cited that people are going to be evicted citing safety reasons on these unsafe buildings. So I just want to know how many were evicted. In conclusion, vote the ACDP for service, order, and safety on the 29th May 2024. I thank you, Madam Speaker. God bless and protect Africa, the people of Sudan, the people of Israel, and the unconditional release of all the hostages and her people. I thank you. Shalom, shalom.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Santana from the DA.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the mayor's speech reminded me of my school days when we did a wonderful play, a delightful comedy play by William Shakespeare, Much Ado About Nothing. His speech was a lot, but said nothing. So let's see what he did not say. He did not say that the city gave away R500,000 of unconditional grants unspent. He did not say that we harass paying residents, hashtag the ratepayers of Johannesburg, who continuously fund the city. He did not say that we are disconnecting people who pay the bills, who are timelessly paying their bills. We disconnect them, then we treat them like criminals to get reconnections. We issue them bills for reconnection, disconnection fees when it wasn't even their fault. He did not say how he's addressing the illegal disconnections within the city, and why is he not taking the same attitude that he takes towards legally binding citizens to non-legal binding citizens. He did not say that we went gung-ho to protect our city manager for a court of law, for an issue of courts of law by the sheriff of the court.
50 seconds.
We break down the system of law and we are a part of the rule of law. It frustrates us that our residents are ignored. Your IDP session was a farce. You ignored the ratepayers of the city of Johannesburg. You did not even take the inclusion, you changed the times, and you don't even now give them advice when the times were changed. So for us, the IDP was a complete farce. You did not take our residents seriously. And Mayor, with all due respect, your speech was a much ado about nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Mazibuku from the ANC.
Speaker of Council, Councillor Arnold, Chief Whip of Council, Councillor Zungu, all chairs of Section 79, fellow councillors, residents of the City of Johannesburg, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Please speak to the mic, please. Thank
Sure,
you.
Speaker. Despite the city's turbulent past, it has undergone a remarkable transformation, a hub of mixed economy, emerging markets. Madam Speaker, social housing is a vital aspect of ensuring that everyone has a place to call home. We welcome the projection of 10,000 units in the next financial year. It's impressive to see that a significant majority of households have access to the necessities like water, electricity, sanitation, and refuse collection. However, it's important to acknowledge that there is still work to be done to reach the remaining 1.7% without water, the 6% without electricity, the 7% without sanitation, and the 9.5% without refuse collection. Let us continue to work towards achieving a universal access to these essential services for all households throughout Johannesburg. An elevated unemployment rate among marginalized groups is a complex problem that requires a multifaceted approach. It's crucial to address the systematic barriers that prevent these groups from accessing equal job opportunities. By working together, we can create a more inclusive economy and reduce unemployment. The city continues to grapple with entrenchment issues of illegality, underscoring the need to sustain and multifaceted approaches to address the root cause of crime and ensure public safety. It's crucial to reassess and adapt our strategies for fostering collaboration between law enforcement and the community to effectively mitigate the persisting challenge of crime. The community of Braamfontein, Slovoville, Snake Park, Tsepisong, Matule, Reveille, and many others live in fear because of illegal miners. The solution outlined by the mayor will assist in salvaging the issue of zama-zamas. However, a strategy is needed to ensure accountability. There's a great need for the city to quantify the damage caused by the zama-zamas. Drugs and all elements of crime within the city is a great concern for all the residents. Crime throughout the city needs to be curbed, and we are doing this through our different entities. Rapid urbanization in Johannesburg requires us to implement sustainable urban planning strategies, invest in infrastructure and social services, and improve inclusive and equitable growth. It's essential to recognize the resilience and resourceful of informal settlement residents, and let us involve them in the decision-making process to create a sustainable and equitable solution to curb new settlements. Madam Speaker, Johannesburg's vision for a new era of hope, prosperity, and equitable service delivery for all its residents is truly commendable. This commitment to create a more inclusive and thriving city is a step in the right direction. By prioritizing the needs of all residents, Johannesburg can become a beacon of hope for other cities and a shining example of what can be achieved through dedication and collective efforts. Let's support and celebrate this endeavor towards a brighter future for all. The government of local unity is still on track with the goal of remaining a world-class African city as guided by our long-term growth and development strategy plan, Joburg 2040. The IDP of Johannesburg is rooted in the spirit of the People's Plan, recognizing that our city's strength lies in the people. We prioritize resilience, understanding that our city's growth and progress depend on our ability to adapt and strive in the face of challenge. We embrace a shared ownership, acknowledging that our city's success is collectively a responsibility that we require active participation from all citizens, stakeholders, and partners. Together, let's build a resilient, inclusive, striving Joburg that truly feels like home. With the performance rating of 68% across all priorities, it's a commendable effort. Let us continue to strive for higher standards, which we can all achieve. We welcome the establishment of the Youth Directorate within the city, which will provide opportunities and support the young people to reach their full potential and to address the socio-economic and political challenges that they face daily. The achievement for 2023-2024 should increase in the next financial year. We look forward to greater numbers. The achievement of the city and all its entities in achieving an unqualified audit opinion, this is an achievement which demonstrates the city's commitment to transparency, accountability, and good governance. It reflects the hard work and dedication of the city's officials and staff. This also enhances the city's reputation, increase stakeholders' trust, and facilitate access to funding and investment opportunities. Fellow councillors, our goals are still intact through prioritizing capital projections and making astute capital planning, that this success to a direct result of teamwork and dedication to responsible financial stewardship. We welcome the Mayor's acknowledgement of the water crisis in the city. We need a more effective solution to ensure a sustainable and resilient water supply to our community. The water crisis needs to be monitored closely with regular updates to residents. Let us see how effectively the water security strategy document will be implemented. I don't think anyone can claim victory to the Brixton and Crosby bulk infrastructure project with the value of 512 million, which will elevate the crisis in the near future. We welcome the interventions by the national government as well. The energy crisis is a pandemic we are faced with in the city of Johannesburg. We welcome the measures that were outlined by His Excellency, the Executive Mayor. We request the Executive to invest more in innovative energy, such as the solar hive mast lights, in informal settlements, in tourism precincts, and flagship parks, and many other spaces. We welcome the noticeable partnership and intervention of the Gauteng provincial government as well. The addition of megawatts to our grid is welcome and noticeable, and with a clear strategy, we can increase it. The transport master plan within the city of Johannesburg is geared in reducing the heavy traffic congestion. The work of Johannesburg Road Agency is noticeable throughout the city. Better coordination with other entities must improve. The standard of roads in Johannesburg needs to improve. The collaboration approach is essential in maintaining clean and safe shared spaces. This will decrease crime and illegal dumping in these open spaces. Let us find meaningful ways of utilizing these open spaces. As a city, we acknowledge disaster and disruption. How do we improve our response and effectively implement our disaster management plan? We cannot have the repeat of the Florence Nightingale building and Usindiso. We also welcome the legal strategy adopted by the city. Let us implement the strategy of partnering with private sector in rehabilitating buildings within the inner city and across all regions. Let us begin by let us be a caring city that recognizes the African female who is disadvantaged when seeking employment within our city. One explosion is one too many. Let us look at the future with hope and optimism. We have faced challenges and overcome them together. We have made a progress and achieved milestones. There is still much work to be done. Executive Mayor, in your address, we have demonstrated that together we can build a city that is just, equitable, and prosperous for all. Let us show the resident what it means to be a community that cares, that innovates, and never gives up. As the African National Congress, we welcome the state of the city. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Mpefo from the DA.
Thank you, Speaker. Fellow councillors, members of the media, distinguished guests, residents of the city of Johannesburg.
Can I have silence this side? Councillor Mpefo.
I'm here, Speaker.
Okay, thank you.
Are you starting the clock?
Yeah, I'm starting the clock.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you.
Fellow councillors, members of the media, distinguished guests, residents of the city of Johannesburg, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you one and all, dumelang. Honorable Mayor, you started your speech by quoting Martin Luther King Jr., "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl." But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. But then you seem to have a lot of excuses blaming apartheid and past governments. You mentioned three things repeatedly: dignity, apartheid, basic service delivery. Let me start with the most used word, most famous, apartheid, 30 years into democracy. Need I remind you of a hostel built in 1972, one of the hostels in Alex Township, built by apartheid government, which city intended to redevelop into family units. It still has not done so. The city has failed to maintain historical buildings and infrastructure inherited from the apartheid government. Hostel dwellers have a dignity. Badula mo makakeng. Fly, mayor, fly. No one is denying historical remnants of apartheid. Yes, no go le gobe. But residents of the city of Johannesburg do not want to hear what happened more than 30 years ago. They want to hear what you're doing today. They want to hear what you are planning for tomorrow. Run, mayor, run. You mentioned how the city demonstrates provision of basic services. Section 79 oversight committees are given certain powers and responsibilities according to the Municipal Structures Act 1998. One of these committees is Petitions Committee, which is overlooked and not taken serious by you. A committee that is exposing departments and city entities and giving evidence that there is a serious lack of service delivery, and residents of the city are desperate and feeling hopeless. Petitions are in a backlog, we all know that, we mention this all the time, no one pays attention. There's hundreds of petitions unresolved, going as far back as 2016. Every department has its fair share in it. Are you also blaming today's unemployment rate to apartheid? There is no dignity when a father cannot find employment to support his family. No dignity when our kids can't go to school and abusing drugs. Walk, mayor, walk. There is no plan, you have no plan, wishy-washy leadership. Crawl, mayor, crawl. Do something, move forward. The DA stands ready to rescue Gauteng and South Africa. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Nkonko from the PAC. Councillor Nkonko. Councillors.
No wonder nice progression there. She knows
IT the mic. Councillors, your mic off. Councillor, can you switch off your mic?
Ere ke go leboge wena mme Arnolds, Margaret Arnolds, the Speaker of the Council. Ka puo ya rona sa Africa re ke modisa kgotla. Ke a go leboga mme. Ke be ke dumise Ratoropo Kabelo Kamanda. Kwa mi ba jwalo mo Africa ga go monna. Ga se nna Izwelithu. Ke be ke leboge ke dumise Whip of the Council, Councillor Zungu, the mayoral committee members, all chairpersons of Section 79 oversight committees, city manager, Refloid Brink. In his absentia, remember that wherever you are, we will protect you, we will defend you, we will always support you. In government, out of government, you are an African, we will defend you. Isolito. Leaders of African indigenous political parties, the indigenous African residents of the city of Johannesburg, all Africans in our country, Tanzania, in the continent, diaspora, and abroad. Isolate. Madam Speaker, I am the son of the exploited. I am the son of the land dispossessed. I am the son of the oppressed. I am the son of systematically excluded. I am the product of Azanian revolution. Madam Speaker, as an Africanist, let me first answer the question, who are Africanists? A simple question, a simple answer will be that are the members of Africanist movement. But if one wishes to go deeper into the question, one would say they are those Africans who believe that African nationalism is the only liberatory outlook that can bind together the African masses by providing them with loyalty higher than that of their tribe. And this mold them into a militant, disciplined fighting force. Robert Mangalsusubukwe. Ratoropo, Mayor, I hear, you know, what's disturbing me is to hear the Africans, you know, Africans talking as if they don't know the cause of the problem. You want to address any problem, you must address the cause of the problem. You cannot talk about it, yes, whereas the economy is not in your hands. How are you going to build the houses? How are you going to provide the service? How are you going to provide service to your people? You don't have money. The money are with the colonialist, your slave master. Please. Think, I don't know whether people do they think, or maybe we have suffered too much due to colonialism. So we are suffering from colonial mentality. However, both the Africans, the colonized, are suffering from mental colonial mentality, and Mfrongo, Councillor, and the oppressors, the colonialists, the white people, they're also suffering from colonial mentality because they think they're superior. Yes. They think that there's most matters, they know everything, and they are not. Yes. I'd like to remind them, we are the ones civilized this world. Yes. We taught you mathematics, everything. Yes. So you must, and we are your fathers, must respect us. We are born here before us. Yes. And here you are illegal immigrant because colonialism was a crime. It was illegal. So you are illegal immigrant. We are not going to listen to you to tell us how we're going to run our government. We're going to run it according to way, and we're going to take just land, the resources, and address the need of our people, whether you like it or not. You're going to come with your colonial imperialist countries with their nuclear weapons, mass destruction, whatever. We will fight you and we will win you. And we will be here to protect our people. Madam Speaker, allow me to explain. You know, you identify the problem, you come with the solution. This is the solution, Madam Speaker, and I hope each and every African indigenous people can listen. We didn't fight for our people to go to RDPs, whereas people are staying in something in the suburbs. All of us, every African deserves to stay in something. Stays in the suburbs. You deserve to get the best of the best and for free, because your country is rich. That wealth must benefit you. And we don't ask any permission from anyone. It's given to us by God, by the way. So here's the solution. No. We repossess.
Councillors, spend your time on your speech.
Land repossession, not expropriation. The land was expropriated from the indigenous people. The rightful owners, what they do, they're going to repossess.
50 seconds.
What belongs to you? Madam Speaker, socialism determines that. Socialism demands that. Socialism in revolutionary vision inspired by Nkrumah's principles demands the radical transformation of economic structures to serve the interest of the African masses.
20 seconds.
It entails
20 seconds, Councillor.
It entails the collective ownership and control of resources, industries, means of productions by the people, ensuring that the fruit of labor benefit the entire community, rather privileged few. This form of socialism is a tool for dismantling legacy of colonialism,
3 seconds.
apartheid,
3 seconds,
exploitation, building a just society where wealth and power are redistributed equitably amongst all Africans. Isolate!
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor San. Councillor San from the DA. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, councillors. Councillor San. Councillor, can you switch off your mic, please? Thank you.
I can't beat that. I can't beat that. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't know. I have respect for you. I don't know sometimes how you sit up there and keep a straight face. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Fellow councillors, good afternoon. Executive Mayor, when I saw the congratulations and the hugs and your fellow MMCs passionately calling out your name, Kwame, Kwame, after your speech yesterday, I was really puzzled. I thought to myself, what are they celebrating? It was as if someone scored an own goal and all his teammates ran up to him to congratulate him. The councillors on the opposition benches exhaled in dismay as we learned a new way to celebrate mediocrity and failure. Despite the narrow successes boasted, the city remains in darkness and firm grips of the crime laws. The true state of the city is that our streets are not safe. Our business open doors in fear of being robbed, and our homes remain heavily locked because we are scared of armed intruders. You tell us about crimes and the problems we already know, but you provide no tangible action plans, no resources allocated, and no turnaround time to fix the problems. Executive Mayor, yesterday you said the city is leading this course in drawing the province and national spheres of government to fight crimes in the city. While in your maiden state of the city address on the 6th of June 2023, you said, and I quote, "Driven by our conviction to never surrender our city to criminals, We are determined to collaborate with provincial and national government to create safer neighborhoods where residents can live without fear. Yesterday, you said JMPD's capability to enforce law and target violent crimes have been enhanced with the deployment of CCTV cameras in partnership with Vumacam to provide the city with access to over 5,000 cameras in the city. Well, in your maiden State of the City address on the 6th of June 2023, you said, and I quote, "We have since introduced a new initiative in partnership with the private sector that will give our JMPD access to over 5,000 smart CCTV cameras to allow us to monitor, track and trace crime suspects and perpetrators across the city." I can assure you, Executive Mayor, the JMPD's Integrated Intelligent Operations Center, the IIOC, does not have access to 5,000 CCTV camera feeds at any given time. And I challenge you, Executive Mayor, to invite the media to take a tour to the IIOC to see how many of the city's CCTV cameras are actually functioning. Just as your State of the City address have not changed, the city is as unsafe as when you became the mayor. Something I observed from yesterday. Your photo, in fact, is the same as the 2023 soccer address. So the city is as unsafe, if even more unsafe, as 2023. Mayor, you see, this is the reason why you hear many criticisms today. But let's change that. Please allow me to give constructive criticism and offer advice. Here are 3 points of 3 suggestions. 1, bylaw enforcement, crime prevention. Ensure that all JMPD officers do what they are legislatively required to do and not what they select to do. When officers see bylaw infringement, stop and deal with infringements. When you see a broken down traffic light,
47 seconds.
stop and direct traffic.
Councillor Son.
Enforce the bylaws. Thank you. Manage traffic. Stop with these unruly taxi drivers endangering lives and motorists and passengers. Prevent crime. Fight criminals, both minor and serious crimes. Set up specialized units, illegal mining units, infrastructure protection unit, gang violence unit. Look after your existing K9. They will bring you success. Set up dedicated fire engine procurement teams to deal with nothing but fire engine procurements. Mayor, let those call out your name in future embrace you in genuine joy.
6
and don't
seconds.
celebrate mediocrity and failure. Thank you.
Councillor Machete from the APC.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, councillors. Honorable Executive Mayor, Governor Commander, APC constituent and fellow resident of the city of Johannesburg. Speaker, allow me to debate on the state of the city address direct in the chamber yesterday. APC welcomed the speech. Executive Mayor of the city of Johannesburg outline the plans and the programs that will be followed. Ensure that the city remain a place where people want to live and work safely and clean manner. A place maintain tarred road, clean water, constant power supply, good governance, stable administration, and effective and reliable service delivery. However, APC would like to point out of the following as point of concern to the Executive Mayor, ESCOM. Executive Mayor, mention the crisis of electricity, which has been going on for long in our city and South Africa as well. He mentioned established partnership with the Gauteng province government ESCOM to address this challenge collectively. But Executive Mayor has failed our people for too long. We don't see anything new coming out of this partnership. Right now, ESCOM has increased electricity tariff, which put pressure on ordinary citizens financially. Citizens continue paying for electricity that is not there continually. We appeal for the city, continue. For look, it's as if that will reduce dependent on ESCOM. As such, we welcome the affect telecom by the city, bring back to the Johannesburg John Ware substation, which will see additional of 50 megawatts in our network, JRA. Executive Mayor, you forgot to mention JRA, the corrupt one, JRA. Has failed our people mention this before in the chamber to circular roads, the Cosmo City. The agent attention, the Cosmo City.
Councillors,
City of Johannesburg, sorry.
To the councillor, please.
The MMC of Transport, Kenny Kunene, visit community and assure residents that improvement will be made to these roads. However, to do nothing, action has been taken. The first of concern in South Africa Drive, which is not only in rain but also require to functionally bridge. The second, Central Africa Republic Road, a road where school bus drop the children who they must suffer for 5 kilometers to walk to school due to the road's poor condition. The situation poses to the problem for our community, especially young ones trying to access education. Executive Mayor, I thought your speech will mention plan made for fix this problem.
50 seconds, Councillor.
George Ndadumabasa, you are there. Ndada Mayor, you mentioned the George is track on this is not true. Even we celebrate entirety by the saying as passed the mark, having 10,000 units. Being rented by the residents of the city coming financial year. But what is the quality of house being built? Look at the house, Georgico, built in Vleihof. The house built there is not up standard.
4 seconds, Councillor.
The entity is not track and has failed our people.
Councillor Jacobs from the DA. Councillor Jacobs from the DA. Councillor Jacobs from the DA, the clock is starting. Councillor Jacobs, DA, the clock has started.
Executive Mayor,
Councillors,
Madam Speaker, fellow councillors, all protocol reserved.
Councillor? Councillors, we've been doing so well. Can we listen to the councillor on the podium? From both sides.
Machete for Mayor.
Thank you, councillor. Your time is starting now, so you'll talk to the councillors on this side if the clock is running.
Executive Mayor, Madam Speaker, fellow councillors, all protocol observed. I rise to speak on the State of City address delivered by the Executive Mayor. On the 6th of March 2024, the Health and Social Development Section 79 Committee had a scheduled sitting. the chairperson of the committee, appointed by the GLU administration, thought it appropriate to fall asleep within minutes of the meeting starting. It was clear that the health and social well-being of the residents of Johannesburg was not a priority to the GLU chairperson. While the chairperson was snoozing, Councillor Harmon from the Democratic Alliance received a frantic call from the Rambo Clinic indicating that they would be closing because of the water crisis that was plaguing Johannesburg. Councillor Harmon immediately after the sitting sprang into action and rushed to the clinic to avert the crisis. There was not a sign of the chairperson of the committee, not a sign of the MMC for Health and Social Development, and yesterday the executive mayor made no mention of what plans they have put in place to ensure that our clinics are operational in the event of extended failures, power failures, and water outages. In fact, the executive mayor made no mention of health and social development at all. Therefore, I must question the commitment of the GLU government, led by the ANC, to resolve and provide workable solutions to the social ills brought on by the very ANC government who has been in charge for the past 29 years. Our parks, Madam Speaker, open spaces, highway embankments.
Councillor, can you just hold on? Councillor Sisirinyane, I'm not sure what of, just before you respond, what point of order it is, because we have agreed earlier that it is a speech. So I'm not sure what is the point of order. And I'll be guided by the House and by legal. I'm not sure. Can you then carry on?
Yeah, Speaker, I'm rising on a point of order. And the point of order, Speaker, is...
We all, can I just listen, please? I just need to get clarity. Can we just listen? I'll make a ruling accordingly.
The point of order, Speaker, is that it's wrong and illegal for any council to exchange the speech of another council. And I suspect that
Councillor.
The speech that Councillor Machita read, it's a wrong speech. So we want the
No, Councillor, no, Councillor, please. Can you carry on, Councillor Jacobs?
Madam Speaker, our parks, open spaces, highway, embankments, bridges, nature reserves, City of Johannesburg, community development facilities, sidewalks, shop fronts, and hijacked or abandoned buildings are occupied by either displaced persons, recyclers, criminal elements, or drug users. This is a crisis of note. Yet, Madam Speaker, the executive mayor makes no mention of table solutions to these crises. Is he hoping that the issue of displaced persons will just disappear automatically as he spins and deflects the legacy of poverty which was created by the ANC government? Madam Speaker, the Windsor West Shelter was birthed under the Democratic Alliance administration in 2016. It initially housed 35 grown men, and the Democratic Alliance understood that more was needed and therefore fostered the expansion of the facility. In 2019, when the ANC administration took over the running of the city again, the Windsor West Shelter fell into disrepair and currently only houses 32 males, while the expansion project sits like an overweight white elephant. And so, Madam Speaker, it is with great sadness that we observe a clear distinction between a party that cares about the people, the Democratic Alliance, and a party that does not, the GLU government led by the ANC. It is with the greatest sadness that we see the once oppressed become the oppressor, causing utter destruction and devastation to our people and the city. However, Madam Speaker, all is not lost. Even though the State of the City address was weak and void of substance, there is hope as the Democratic Alliance stands ready to rescue Gauteng and South Africa. Thank you.
19 seconds. Thank you. Councillor Mhlongo from the AIC. Councillor Mhlongo.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me just greet you, Madam Speaker, in the name of the African Independent Congress. Greet the Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Kwamanda. Greet all the executive serving under the mayorship of Comrade Kwamanda, the chairpersons of the Section 79. Greetings to all councillors that are in the House, and most importantly, greetings to the members that are sitting in the gallery and the Joburgers at large. Madam Speaker, I think I must start where my councillor on my right here, Councillor Nkonko, African Nkonko, left off. But I know the backlash that I could get from the other side that I'm standing. I will reserve my comment on that one. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. The African Independent Congress welcomes the State of the City address by the Executive Mayor yesterday. Madam Speaker, I stand before you today, not just as a representative of our city, but as one of its concerned residents. Johannesburg, our beloved city, is facing a multitude of challenges, and it is imperative, therefore, that we come together to address them. On the issue of crime, Madam Speaker, we cannot ignore the fact that crime rates in Johannesburg are alarmingly high. Every day we hear stories of theft, violence, gender-based violence, and intimidation. This is not only threatens our safety, but also undermines the fabric of our community. We must work hand in hand with law enforcement agencies to make our streets safer. Community policing initiatives, neighborhood watch programs, and improved lighting in high-risk areas are just some of the strategies we can implement to combat crime. The AIC welcomes the deployment of CCTV cameras in partnership with Vumacam to provide the city with access to over 5,000 cameras in the city, enhancing the ability of the JMPT to detect and respond to crime. Secondly, Madam Speaker, the issue of unemployment weighs heavily on our city. Mr. Mayor, too many of our fellow citizens are struggling to find work. We all know about that, and there are many reasons that this thing stands like that, leading to poverty and despair, especially among young people, Mr. Mayor. By supporting small businesses, investing in skills development programs, and promoting entrepreneurship, we can create more opportunities for our people to strive. Madam Speaker, the AIC hopes that the newly formed Youth Directorate in the Office of the City Mayor will be supported to ensure the formalization of youth development and empowerment strategy. Thirdly, our infrastructure is dire need of attention. From potholed roads to unreliable public transport, the state of our infrastructure affects every aspect of our daily lives. We must therefore invest in upgrading our roads, expanding public transportation options, and ensuring that basic services like water, electricity are reliable and accessible to all. Fourthly, Madam Speaker, the issue of inequality looms large in our city. Johannesburg is a city of stark contrasts, where affluent suburbs exist alongside sprawling informal settlements. We need to go and repossess something.
Isolate.
Addressing these challenges will not be easy, Madam Speaker, but I believe that together we can overcome them, because the government of local unity is anchored on service to people. It will therefore require cooperation, innovation, and shared commitment to building a better future for all who call Johannesburg home. I'm the one that is calling Joburg my home. Yeah. And I think all of us here. Madam Speaker, one of the pillars in the AIC manifesto says we are going to increase the age of the youth from 36, from 18 years up until 45, so that we accommodate all the society, Madam Speaker. If you look at the person, Madam Speaker, who's 45 years old, Madam Speaker, that person is still fresh, that person can be employed. That's what we are going to do. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, so let us roll up our sleeves and get to work. Let us be the change we wish to see in our city. Let us build a Johannesburg that we can all be proud of. And to the Johannesburgers, please stop voting these political parties that are always crying. Yeah. Why would vote for the party that is always crying, crying, crying. Not even offering a solution to the cries. You are just voting a baby that will be a burden on yourself. So please don't vote Action SA, don't vote DA. These are the DA lights. Vote AIC, vote the GLO partners. Thank you.
Councillor Mtronga, thank you. Councillor Belinda Ezonjoku from the DA.
Thank you, Thank you.
I hope I pronounced fine.
Yes, you did indeed. My time started, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor, fellow councillors and residents of Johannesburg, I greet you all. The Executive Mayor in his speech yesterday had once again shown the residents of Johannesburg how totally out of touch he is with what is happening in the city that he leads. Madam Speaker, the Mayor is talking about inclusiveness, yet he completely ignores ratepayers from all areas across the city who contributes to CAPEX projects for underdeveloped areas, even referring to some ratepayers as white arrogance. These same ratepayers, like other races, pay rates and services and get nothing in return. Let me tell you, Madam Speaker and Mr. Mayor, the collapse of service delivery in the city of Johannesburg is not a legacy of apartheid. It is the city's failure to implement what residents pay them to do. It is caused by the politicizing of service delivery and only work being done in certain wards aligned to the GLU. Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor speaks about the Usindiso building disaster as if it has nothing to do with the city. Yet this is another prime example of failure by the JPC to do repairs and maintenance on properties owned by the city, and the Executive Mayor is failing to hold the officials to account. It is quite unfortunate, Madam Speaker, that the Executive Mayor failed to tell the residents when last an audit was done on properties owned by the city and how much money is collected by JPC on behalf of the city. Where does the money go? Madam Speaker, it's unfortunate that in this council we bring reports that we know violate the Constitution, yet it contributes to fruitless and wasteful expenditure, and this council is happy to steamroll through it with numbers. The Executive Mayor is lamenting about the challenges of crime and safety. He wouldn't take it serious. He would rather politicize this very important issue because it is under his watch that VIP protectors are deployed, and only afterwards risk assessments are done and reports brought to council. Madam Speaker, it is clear from his speech that the Executive Mayor has no plan on how to deal with Zama-Zamas, and it is in fact the city has no capacity to deal with illegal mining. The Executive Mayor must tell the residents when last did he speak to the Minister of Police and the Minister of Mineral Resources to jointly find solutions for illegal mining in Johannesburg. Madam Speaker, we don't want to know about the Mayor's sleeping patterns. Ons wil nie weet nie. Listen to Councillor Michelson's advice and set up a special task team to deal with gang violence in the city and action it. The DA believes in a whole-of-society approach, and it's for this reason that we believe that not only engaging different spheres of government, but community structures to find solutions that are sustainable. Community development, the Executive Mayor said nothing. Yet, Madam Speaker, parks and public open spaces remain danger zones for our children and women because the grounds are occupied by drug users and opportunistic criminals. The multi-party government had started with park rangers. Now we hardly see any park rangers, and the Mayor said nothing. Despite the relax on load shedding as part of the ANC election campaigns, the cable theft continues. Madam Speaker, the Executive Mayor said nothing about the infrastructure protection plan. Under the multi-party government, the infrastructure protection unit included all spheres of government. Yet the Mayor is talking about only engaging them now. Why throw out good plans simply because it was not started by you? The billing crisis, Madam Speaker, the Executive Mayor clearly lives in a different city from all of us. He said nothing about the billing crisis in the city. He has not mentioned any plan to get the billing crisis resolved. I agree with you, Executive Mayor, in your speech. All of us as councillors must pay our bills to the municipality, and the municipality also has an obligation to ensure billing is correct, and where there are disputes, these are resolved timelessly. And thank you for your statement by the Chief Whip of Council today, reminding councillors in arrears, all of us, because we know, unlike myself, some councillors in these chambers don't have active arrangements that they stick to in these chambers, and none of their details were sent to the media. For the benefit of transparency, Madam Speaker, I wonder why the Executive Mayor has not told the residents that government departments and political parties, including the African National Congress, owe the city a combined approximately 1.2 billion rand, and big businesses who are doing business with the ANC are completely untouchable. The city has done nothing to collect money from these government departments and businesses who are doing business with the ANC. Let us be transparent and collect from everybody. Madam Speaker, the Executive Mayor must explain why different rules apply to residents of the city, ratepayers, residential ratepayers, who are just trying to make a living. And then they are intimidated, bullied, when they cannot make it, and are not given even a hearing when they come to the Revenue Department. The billing crisis in the city, Mr. Mayor, has made it very difficult for property investors and developers to remain in the city, and they would rather invest elsewhere, leaving a lower rate base and adding a burden to the city. Madam Speaker, the Executive Mayor proudly announced that Joshco will soon have 10,000 units, but no mention that Joshco is desperately trying to return about 2,000 units back to the city. Joshco's inability to collect rental from tenants, the lack of maintenance of the units, as well as the failure to correctly administer these units, now puts Joshco in a situation where they are too happy to return it back to the city that they previously had, so happy to have them on the ballot sheet. Madam Speaker, the DA believes that housing should give dignity to residents, and unfortunately under Joshco, it is not giving dignity to residents. There are several projects on hold, Mr. Mayor, and I don't know why they did not brief you about this, because I was hoping you would mention it in your speech and also give comfort that something is being done. Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate that, as I said before, the Executive Mayor is completely out of touch, fails to tell the residents that there are several projects on hold due to non-payment. The Braamfontein Wellness Center stopped due to non-payment. Bapela Upper Bridge, JRA has given notice, no payment. Stormwater project, former contractor terminated work with the city due to non-payment. Now the new contractor has also put work on hold due to non-payments. Debt collectors have not been paid despite numerous commitments to get this resolved. How long will residents wait to have these facilities used, or use the bridge, or use the road, or use the wellness center? How many more projects are at a standstill due to non-payment? In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the DA will not be silenced. We believe in transparency, good governance, and the DA stands ready to rescue Gauteng and South Africa on the 29th of May. So I encourage all residents, vote Democratic Alliance on the 29th of May.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Molifi from the EFF. Councillor Molifi.
Tla ke simolle ke dumedise makhansela kaofela, Madam Speaker, our Mayor Gwami, and the EFF at large, even in their absentia. Even buying Barona ko gallery rally dumedisa, and our Chief Whip of the day, Councillor Zita, and the Chairperson of the day, Councillor Ali Shilo. Let me get to my speech. Speaker, as the economic freedom fighters, we extend our appreciation for Mayor Kabelo Kwamanda's State of the City address. We believe it offered a candid assessment of Johannesburg's current realities, providing valuable insights into the government performance and suggesting solutions to propel our city forward. In his address, Mayor Kwamanda invoked Martin Luther King Jr.'s words, and I quote, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. You can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward," close quote. While we resonate with the imperative of progress, the challenges confronting us demand more than mere stroll or crawl. As a grassroots organization, we have witnessed firsthand the pressing needs of our people, leaving us no recourse to run and ideally fly. We cannot afford to crawl when delivering basic services to residents in Johannesburg informal settlements. These communities still enjoy the indignity of the bucket system, exposing them to numerous health hazards. Our response must be swift and decisive. Similarly, our city crumbling infrastructure, prone to fires and other hazards, demands urgent action. Running or flying, nor initially pacing. With 1.8 million Johannesburg residents below the poverty line of 800,000 living with HIV, we cannot afford to tread lightly. Poverty must be eradicated, and access to antiretroviral treatment expanded with the utmost agency. The stark disparity in living standards, illustrated by Gini coefficient of 0.63 in sub-region A, necessitate rapid strides toward equitable development. Allow me to cite instances where EFF deployed individuals in our city have exemplified the spirit of agency. The MMC of Public Safety, Commissar Mcini Chwaku, swiftly controlled illegal miners in Rivali and responded to disasters like fires and floods. Meanwhile, MMC of Health Fighter Ramadi Meja Makafula promptly distributed laptops to enhance clinic efficiency and tackled cholera outbreaks head-on, despite infrastructure deficit. In a short space of time, EFF deployed MMC Mcini Chwaku, ran and flew execute the following among other achievements. Namely, JMPD and EMS were provided with new PPE in a form of uniforms. New patrol cars and high-speed chase vehicles have been procured. A new crime combating unit and JMPD tactical response unit were launched as well. As I continue, partnership with Vumacam to roll out 7,500 cameras with artificial intelligence, purchase of bullets and final stages of purchasing firearms, filling critical vacancies to stabilize operation, opening of a state-of-art vehicle license department in Diepsloot, the adoption of disaster management plan for the first time, re-establishment of relationship with universities and professional bodies to improve on disaster responses. Similarly, EFF deployed MMC Makafula also ran and flew to achieve the following in a short space of time. The launch of the Advisory Committee of Gender-Based Violence, development and review of policies, including homeless policy, old people's policy, food resilience policy, and children's policy. Completion of 8 memorandums with over 500 attendees in Soweto. Training on compliance and market access of 100 agro-processors NQF level 3 by Wakanda. Registration of all substance abuse treatment centers with Provincial Department of Social Development. These examples underscore the necessity of swift action to address Johannesburg challenges. Yet progress is not yet without obstacles. As the EFF, we believe in constructive criticism as vital for excellence. The relocation of the Youth Directorate to the Mayor's office, for instance, lacks its justification. Youth issues should be integrated seamlessly within the Social Development Department, rather than segregated likewise. Politicized structures in the administration of the city impede progress, hindering our ability to run or fly. Regarding the mayor's mention of the 350 bursaries. Transparency remains paramount. As a representative, we lack clarity on the selection of process and beneficiaries, such as opacity of structures, our collective momentum. We call for a transparent, efficient, and accountable government to confront Johannesburg challenges head-on, to claim our place as a world-class African city. We must print towards a clean audit, state bolster revenue collection, cap crime, and enhance infrastructure, amongst other things. The indignity of bucket system toilets must be replaced with dignified sanitation of all residents, especially those in informal settlements, reflecting on Johannesburg state. We recognize the need of both intent and velocity. The city rapid evolution demands accelerated responses. 30 years post-democracy, residents await opportunities since 1994. We cannot afford to falter. We must run, indeed fly, as exemplified above. The few EFF deployees into position, power demonstrate their capacity to run and fly and can clearly be entrusted in the governing of this country. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. MMC Leach from the PA.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Greetings to the Patriotic Alliance Party Whip, Councillor Lewis Simmons, and our caucus leader, MMC Kenny Kunene, in absentia, our coalition partners, fellow councillors, Madam Speaker, and our executive mayor, Councillor Kabelo Hwamanda. This particular coalition of 12 parties has really been easy to manage or keep together, but the mayor has achieved it now for nearly a year. On this coming Saturday, Councillor Hwamanda will be allowed to celebrate his first anniversary as the mayor since in office. In the process, he and all MMCs in this GLU will have proven the many naysayers wrong, when so many of them were predicting that we would face having 4 different mayors in a single year in 2023. This year's State of the City address has shown it is possible to have stability in a multi-party government more diverse than any in South Africa's history. I would like to take this moment to commend not only the mayor but all the parties who are part of this coalition for charting a common path despite our many differences and disagreements. As the Patriotic Alliance today, we disagree, for example, on whether we should follow through with the renaming Santon Drive to Leila Khalid Drive. However, disagreements like these should not detract from our shared commitment to governance and service delivery for the sake of the people. I will not linger on this point, but there are many great unacknowledged South African heroes that we should be considering for such an honor. Where are the streets named after the forgotten liberation icons, Anton Fransch, Ashley Creel, or even Harry de Strandloper? This is part of a debate for another day, however. Today, I would like to linger on the role that the Patriotic Alliance has played in this government. We are proud to be in service in the city, and we have done everything we can to live up to our commitments in governance. In the portfolios we lead, the mayor touched on some of the achievements in the departments of roads and transport and human settlements. To hear that we have provided basic services to 97% of informal settlements was encouraging, though we must also caution that new informal settlements continue to mushroom constantly, and this is a battle that we should not take lightly. We should be careful to chastise our citizens for being guilty of high water usage, when it is also true that much of our water is being lost to leaks before it even reaches them. This is something we need to fix as this government, as expensive as it might be. We appreciate the comments from the mayor about our challenges in the inner city, but we also urge the city to do much more. We are simply not maximizing the potential of the inner city or limiting the dangers to us there. The PA is advocating for a far more aggressive approach of expropriating hijacked buildings that owe the city millions in unpaid rates and services, to refurbish these properties for use in social and affordable housing, or demolish the structures and make the land available in a city where the availability of developable land is shrinking every year, often desperately so. As a city, we need to be more demanding on the Joburg Property Company, JPC, to fight the good fight with us, along with city planning and the finance department. We know that many residents of our city are excited about the Southern Farms mega project development that was launched last year, but this project remains closely managed by JPC, despite mostly also being a housing development. In the transport portfolio, we can celebrate more than a year of MMC Kenny Kunene's service delivery campaign, Operation Restore. Launched on March 21st, 2023, Operation Restore has made great progress in addressing road degradation. MMC Kunene has also signed the bus operating contract agreement between the city and the Alexandra Bus Company for Rea Via's operations. 68 buses have been procured as part of preparations towards the operating of the bus route from the Joburg CBD to Sandton via Alexandra. Over the past 12 months, the entity has repaired 4,887 damaged guardrails and 5,091 blocked stormwater curb inlets. It has replaced 272 manhole covers, replaced or repaired 4,928 regulatory road traffic signs, fixed 47,237 potholes, resurfaced 57.69 kilometers of tarmac, and 434.66 kilometers of gravel roads. The recommissioning in August 2023 of the city's asphalt plant was a bold step forward for the city,
MMC.
as it can provide enough asphalt to resurface 2.5 kilometers every single day. Metrobus under MMC Kunene also instructed its new bus fleet management system. The Eye on the Bus feature enhances the way Metrobus connects with customers, and we have now implemented Wi-Fi on our buses. The introduction of the interim automated fare collection system is also a highlight. In closing, we are confident the year ahead will be one full of bold steps forward for the city in raising the bar on service delivery, the restoration of our infrastructure, and evidence that coalitions can indeed govern effectively as long as the PA is part of that government.
10 seconds, MMC.
We call on all voters to back the Patriotic Alliance on the 29th of May, 2024, to bring the PA turnaround plan to
Thank you, Councillor. Has Councillor Ahmed come back from prayers? He's not back. Councillor Ahmed. Can I have Councillor Rapadu?
Thank you very much, Speaker. It's Chairperson Rapadu. Thank you very much. We are chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson Rapadu.
That was on a lighter note, Madam Speaker. Let me start and close this debate on a fair and exciting note. Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, fellow councillors, yesterday, Mayor Kwamanda provided us with a comprehensive overview of the progress and achievement made during his tenure leading this great city, Mchipa, Josie Mabone. As I listened to his speech, I could not help but recall the words of Amilcar Cabral when he said, "Always bear in mind that the people are not fighting for ideas, nor for the things in anyone's head. They are fighting to win material benefits, to live better and in peace, to see their lives go forward, to guarantee the future for their children." Madam Speaker, these words serve as a clarion call for us as councillors to work together in making sure that indeed Johannesburg does become a better place for all our residents. Madam Speaker, we must remain steadfast in our commitment to securing a brighter future for all our residents. Every day we are confronted with a multitude of challenges, diverse perspectives, and converging ideas. Yet through it all, our focus remains on building a stable and resilient city that serves the needs of its people. Fellow councillors, the recent IDP review sessions, spearheaded by the GLU Coalition and guided by the GDS 2040, exemplified our dedication to fostering an active and engaged citizenry. It was our reaffirmation of our belief that the people of Johannesburg must be active participants in their own development. Madam Speaker, Nelson Mandela once outlined 5 crucial points for the successful development of Africa, emphasizing democracy, the rule by the people, promotion of rights, and the rule of law and good governance. I'm proud to say that under the leadership of this Government of Local Unity Administration, we have made significant strides in each of these areas, as evidenced by our 68% performance rating and the unqualified audit report across all entities. Fellow councillors, let us not forget the challenges we have overcome and the progress we have made. The people of Pumlamkashi, Kaya Sands, Amarasta informal settlements are no longer forgotten, as essential services are now being delivered to their doorsteps. The UISP program is gaining momentum, ushering in a new era of hope and prosperity for all the residents of the city of Johannesburg. However, amidst our successes, we must acknowledge the dark clouds that linger. Revenue collection and billing challenges pose significant obstacles to our budget for service delivery. It is incumbent upon all of us, including councillors, to fulfill our obligation to the city by paying our rates and taxes promptly. Madam Speaker, the dark cloud we had to deal with is revenue collection and billing challenges. In light of this, the city has to revise the collection target, which impacted all of us. It is not only our residents who are not coming to the party, and paying rates and taxes. Even councillors owe the city of Johannesburg millions and rands, and the majority of them are seated that side. They talk about rescuing South Africa, but they fail to rescue the city by paying for our municipal accounts. Madam Speaker, moreover, these are mazama. These are the scourge and the burden to the city. Illegal mining activities demand urgent and aggressive attention from all stakeholders. We cannot turn a blind eye to these issues that threaten the safety and well-being of our community. Madam Speaker, fellow councillors, allow me to address a matter that cannot be ignored. The failures of the past administration, the DA-led multi-party coalition under the leadership of Action SA's Makoti Mpopalatsi, left our city in disarray. Their inability to deliver on their promises only exacerbated, thank you, the challenges we face today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the leader of the opposition.
Continue with your speech. Your time
They're making
is
noise
moving.
behind me. Thank you very much. Their inability to deliver on their promises exacerbated the challenges we face today. It is time for us to move forward, leaving behind the mistakes of the past and embracing a future built on unity and progress. Executive Mayor, I'm glad that we are headed in the right path with the recommissioning of the asphalt plant. We are assured that the cries and frustrations of our residents are finally being heard. The MMC before MMC Kenny Kunene failed dismally, and now we hear that he wants to lead Gauteng province. How can he fix the province while he failed to fix JRA? Madam Speaker, fellow councillors, as we commemorate the legacy of our forebearers, let us celebrate the renaming of William Nicol to Winnie Madikizela Mandela Drive. This symbolic gesture not only honors a remarkable leader, but also serves as a testament to our commitment to nation building and unity. In closing, let us remember that our actions today will shape the future of generations to come. Let us continue to work together tirelessly and selflessly in service of the people of Johannesburg. Together, we can overcome any challenges, Mr. Mayor, and build a city that we can be proud of. Thank you, and may God bless the people of Johannesburg and the great nation of South Africa. And let's not forget, on the 29th of May, first ballot, vote ANC. On second ballot, vote ANC. On the third ballot, vote ANC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Rapadu. Councillors, that closes the responses. Councillor Mhlongo, behave like an AIC. It was just on a light note, because no one wants to listen to me. Councillors, we've closed now the responses. We are now going to have a note 10 minutes break, and then we come back, and then the mayor will respond to us. Councillor Rapadu had 8 minutes left, so we're going to use that 8 minutes plus a 2-minute to have a break. Then we come back, and then we will listen to the mayor's response. I thank you. Are we settling down? Are we getting to our own seats? Can we settle down, councillors? Remember, some of us have asked to leave by 2 o'clock. Can we settle down so that we can finish before that time? Are we all in our seats at the back there? Action SA at the back there. I'm not sure, is it ANC? Councillor Doyle? Can we start sitting? We are over 3 minutes over from our 10 minutes. Thank you.
Item 5, response by the Executive Mayor.
Executive Mayor, you can proceed to the podium or you can respond from there. It's up to you. Councillors, we have spoken and we want a response. Can we now listen to the response? Especially the councillor hiding behind his name of Action SA. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me take the opportunity to acknowledge you, the Speaker of Council, acknowledge the Chief Whip of Council, and extend my gratitude for the reminder to all of us to keep up with our monthly payments of our rates as councillors, as responsible councillors. Can I also take the opportunity to acknowledge members of the mayoral committee?
Executive Mayor, pause. Councillor Knott, is there a point of order on the mayor?
No, Madam Speaker, it's on Councillor Rapadu. If he can please withdraw what he just shouted across the room. Thank you.
I don't know what he responded, what he said, so I'm not sure how I should respond to it. But then Councillor Joera is at another point of order on top of a point of order. I want us to get done with the mayor's speech. Okay.
I think councillors should be listening to the mayor. The executive mayor is on the podium, he's addressing us, not listening to what other councillors are saying. Thank you, Speaker.
Councillor Knott, I did not hear what councillor said. I'm not even certain what he said. I was looking at him. I'm not sure what he said. So I don't know how to respond to it. Councillor Belinda, are we delaying the mayor? Councillor Belinda?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would love to listen to the mayor because I'm actually interested. That's why we are still here. and I really value his coming back.
Okay.
But we cannot allow Councillor Rapado to scream across the room, the leader of the DA, when the mayor was talking about that, when the chief whip of council has just spoken to me about this as an issue as well. If he is concerned that I owe the city, then he must speak to the chief whip of council. Or he was withdrawn.
Councillor Belinda, I did not hear. I hear from you. So can we not pass any remarks? Can we not say anything? Can we listen to the mayor? Can we not do what we are doing? All of us, whether you are the leader of whichever political party, can we not do things like that? I thank you. Councillor Belinda, can we pause it just there? Can we continue and listen to the mayor? You have your documents else, let's just keep it there. Please, councillors, we have all well behaved yesterday and today. People were actually saying online, Joburg was nice. Executive Mayor, can you continue, please?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think I'm also now concerned about this issue of raids and the defensive nature when it comes to certain aspects. I'm citing this, Madam Speaker, on the basis that we understand that we are on the threat of raids boycott. And I would assume that some of the pioneers may be amongst us. But Madam Speaker, as I was saying, I wanted to thank the Chief Whip for reminding us of our fiduciary duties as legislated. But Madam Speaker, starting with the debate from councillors and political parties, Madam Speaker, some political parties speak as if they are anticipating a reward, regardless of whatever it is that they say, whether factual or not. Madam Speaker, the 2023-2024 ID review process gave this particular administration a bit more context on the relationships that exist between certain ward councillors and their communities. Madam Speaker, I needed to stand up and correct communities, citing the fact that I am not responsible for councillors, and therefore it is not on me to change your councillors. I remember having protected Councillor Pitgau, and I was expecting that you were speaking on behalf of the community, hence I was making reference to a reward of some sort. But nonetheless, Madam Speaker, let me take this opportunity to acknowledge the criticism, whether constructive or not. Madam Speaker, we draw strength in the direction which criticism points us to improve upon the efforts that we as this administration are putting together to restore the quality of service in the city of Johannesburg. Madam Speaker, responding to Councillor Mthembu, we appreciate the concern that you portray of the city of Johannesburg, but also concerned about where you are on the ground. I have never seen you in any of the IDPs, any of the accelerated service delivery programs, or any of the government initiatives that speak to interventions to the issues in which you question the government about. Madam Speaker, I'm not Shakespeare, but I remember one of the leaders in one of the political parties criticizing my outfit because I was wearing a worksuit demonstrating the fact that I was on the ground responding to the immediate challenges of our communities, which is more important than having to defend the government of the day. Madam Speaker, Councillor Mthembu make reference to former MMCs that held certain departments that we found in a chaotic manner. But let me go to economic development and the lack of understanding of their deployee in that department. Madam Speaker, it is not until I had a one-on-one with MMC Mnisi that we came to understand that the Department of Economic Development does not have, or at the time, did not have an economic development strategy, or nor did it have at the time plans to introduce an economist in the department that would assist steer the financial hub of the country in a direction that would enable investment attraction. And yet they talk about being the ones that would lead the country forward when at the time of an opportunity, they were preoccupied with getting rid of black professionals. Madam Speaker, there was a reference to the safety concerns in the city of Johannesburg. And I'm quite disturbed because I feel I need to do the state of the city again, because it would appear that none of the points that I elevated in the state of the city address were actually spoken to by councillors on my left. Madam Speaker, the fact of the matter is that in as much as we did acknowledge the challenges that the city is facing, we reassured the residents in the city of Johannesburg of our commitment. And we also acknowledge our shortcomings in terms of specific areas of reinstatement that were raised. But in the areas of public safety, I think I was covered by a councillor from the Economic Freedom Fighters, Councillor Mazibuko. And the reason why is because we made mention of the crime combating approach that we have undertaken as JMPD, the tactical response unit that is currently in place, and the tools of trade that are being allocated to capacitate that particular department. The only case in point that I can remember under the then administration is the 47 million that was paid for a so-called impound in Denver, under the same councillor that is talking about us not knowing what the safety concerns of our residents are. Madam Speaker, Councillor Mazibuko also equally covered me on the issues of health and social development. But let me speak on the issues of city power and the fact that this council is the sole shareholder of city power.
Executive Mayor, I'm just advised at the table to correct you that the councillor that spoke was Councillor Molife from the EFF, Masibuku's from the ANC.
Oh, thank you very much.
Just a correction on that.
Thank you very much, Chair. I thought you were correcting me on the fact that council is the sole shareholder of City Power. But City Power has been a contentious subject amongst councillors on my left in terms of its losses, in terms of its efficiency and effectiveness. And not even once was City Power commended or acknowledged by the shareholders on the strides that it has made. City Power has, in the current, added 50 megawatts to our grid. In the next financial year, we are adding an additional 50 megawatts. We are installing high masts in informal settlements to increase visibility and to deter crime. We understand that there are deficiencies in our service delivery responses. But the fact that the company that you are a shareholder in, for the first time since 2016, is making practical and tangible strides is something that you yourself should be proud of. Madam Speaker, when I made reference of the systematic shock that the City of Johannesburg had experienced, I think it crossed over their heads that I was talking about 2016. In 2016, Madam Speaker, the City of Johannesburg cancelled partnerships that were critical to our service delivery. 2016 was a difficult time, not only for the employees of the City of Johannesburg, but for the goal of a world-class African city. Madam Speaker, this administration, or this government, which we call the government of local unity, is a government that is put together by a common purpose. Madam Speaker, the government of local unity's commitment to service delivery does not border on political lines, as we are being made to believe. The accelerated service delivery program that I had alluded to earlier on was introduced first in Councillor Bidkow's ward. And that was with the intention of attending to areas that we were informed was neglected for the past 6 years. Madam Speaker, I would just like to take an opportunity to elevate a very important issue. And that is our Constitution, Madam Speaker, as enshrined in Chapter 7 and subsection 2 and 3 in particular. It spells out, Madam Speaker, that this government of local unity, as it was formed in 2023, and the fact that it is a formation that is recognized as a creature of statutes, the unity on its own was and still is driven by a modern day struggle to, in the main, rescue the economic hub of our country from a systematic collapse by a right-wing agenda and a moonlight what. But also to regain, Madam Speaker, as alluded to in my State of the City, the constitutional right to self-determination on the part of the majority. Madam Speaker, it is in my view, and rightfully so, with an emphasis that the government of the day is better positioned to move this beautiful city of ours forward. And this is due in the main to our understanding of the needs and wants and how our diverse residents interpret service delivery, and in our tailoring of short, medium, and long-term responses that are less antagonistic in an already unequal society. We are therefore, Madam Speaker, endeavoring to strike a balance, targeting 3 focus areas. Critical and key to an inclusive and transformative agenda and aligning the interpretations to our strategic priorities. Madam Speaker, we are steadfast on our endeavor to realize this world-class African city vision through initiatives that seek to reinstate service delivery and through the use of the economies of scale to improve on the quality of service while maintaining the value for money. Madam Speaker, my own definition of the GLU is a diversely constituted unity of purpose that has taken collective responsibility to protect the liberty of its people and seeks to prevent the country from regressing, Madam Speaker, back into an apartheid state. And Madam Speaker, only this time it will happen through a democratic process if we are not careful. Madam Speaker, if for any reason there's a view that I may not be in touch with the ground, consider the fact that, as I had stated, that South Africa is the only African state where a former colonializer conducts oversight over the affairs of state through a legislative process in a form of opposition. Ladies and gentlemen, be wary of the wolf savoring a meal to come under the false pretenses that you need rescuing. Madam Speaker, this is a summary statement of my view. But then again, with what is happening and their constant attack and not realizing the strides that the city is happening, what the city is doing, I'd like to quote Marcus Aurelius, who demonstrates clearly, Madam Speaker, the psychological warfare in use in public perception to mislead the public. And this, Madam Speaker, should equally serve as a warning against what's coming. And I quote, "When a bunch of known corrupt people unite against a man and spare no effort to ridicule him, blackmail him, and attempt to assassinate his character, follow that man." Madam Speaker, in summary, that is TREDCOM, but we are not there. Councillor Machete, ESCOM is a state-owned entity. And we as City Power are collaborating with them to formulate a strategy limited to the province but targeting the city of Johannesburg in particular. However, where there are challenges with ESCOM-related issues, the government of the day is open and willing to engage to find a solution for the affected communities. Madam Speaker, I'd also like to respond to Councillor Mabaso. Councillor Mabaso, when you enter a broken vehicle, you don't accelerate full speed forward. You assess the car's functionality first, and then determine the pace. So you can't fly. Or you can't accelerate. When the systematic demise of the city of Johannesburg trying to promote migration to a two-state solution in South Africa, which will never happen, by the way. You need to understand what the objective is. South Africa is, the city of Johannesburg is the economic hub of the country, and that's how it will remain. Councillor Mabaso, we take note of the concerns that you have raised about Diepkloof Hostel and the fact that it was not represented in my state of the city. But Councillor Mabaso, that is a constituency of interest whose needs are being attended to. And the collaboration between the city of Johannesburg and the Gauteng Provincial Human Settlements Department will see their challenges come to an end. It would have been incorrect of me to isolate Diepkloof Hostel from all other hostels that are in the city of Johannesburg, because the approach and the plan that is to be presented is a plan that is all-encompassing. But we welcome and we appreciate your assessment of the fact that even though city power is not a competency of province, human settlement is their key area of focus. We will use the same intergovernmental relations to ensure that we have a seamless process in responding to the needs of our people. Councillor Mkhonza. Let me acknowledge and welcome the comments that you have made, and also indicate that the issue again of councillors defaulting on their payments is an issue that the Speaker and the Chief Whip are responsible for and are attending to it, I hope, decisively. The gang violence that happened in our communities is a concern to all of us. Unlike some of my predecessors who prioritize the celebrity status over the service that is required, I have gone in my personal capacity to interact with the families of those that have been affected. And just because you do not know about it does not mean that the city is not actively working on addressing that issue head on. Madam Speaker, let me reassure not only this House, but the residents in the city of Johannesburg that we will restore law and order. we will protect the inherent authority of the state, whether it's against rate boycotts, whether it is against the constant undermining of the state, whether it is against criminality that occur on a daily basis, whether it is against domestic issues perpetuated by councillors. We will not tolerate it. Madam Speaker, I hope I was on. Last but not least, Councillor Belinda. I'd like to first start by responding to the VIP issue that you had raised. I think it's disingenuous, to say the least, for me to inherit what you have implemented, and in the process of us correcting it and being transparent, it is portrayed as if it is this government that needs a lot of protection. Mind you, MMC caucus leader, I travel in my private car more than I do with bodyguards. That's the kind of leader that I am. The city of Johannesburg embraces me in the absence of protectors, so there's no need for us to have 100 bodyguards. And I do not have 10 bodyguards. The 8 bodyguards that are there, they were given to me by Councillor Bapela. Is that her? The car that I am driving, that I'm being driven in, is a car that I got from Councillor Bapela. It was. No. Madam Speaker, this administration has only sought to take an existing structure and table it before council for record purposes, and for there to be an assessment that is conducted on how we move forward with our inheritance. So I hope you are covered. And in moving to other issues, the public open spaces that were alluded to by the councillor, my apologies, I'll tell you now. No, I'll come back to you, Councillor Ekozonjok. Jacobs, yes. It's an active program, Council. We are partnering with non-profit organizations and civil societies to ensure that we maintain our public open spaces. There are innovative ideas, especially in region F1, where demolition of buildings happen and that area is repurposed for a park, so that not only do we eradicate the congestion or the threat of dilapidated buildings being hijacked. We convert those spaces in partnership with the private sector into parks. And where there are parks, we partner with them through community development to ensure that its maintenance is of the standard of the community. This has started under the stewardship of MMC Lubabalo Makwenchu, the 7th MMC. And if you engage with community development, your communities can equally benefit from the opportunity that the government of local unity has made available. Councillor Okozonjok, we do appreciate, like I alluded to the VIP protection, the plans that the multi-party government had put in place, but we have not cancelled any of them. What we do is that we repurpose certain budgets for our constitutional service delivery obligations. We have not cancelled or delayed payments for any underhanded reasons, except for move it into the outer years so that we can focus on the issue that has made you very famous of the water cuts in the city of Johannesburg. Madam Speaker, I think, let me conclude by extending my gratitude for the constructive criticism first, and the redirection to critical areas of focus that affect ward councillors, because we understand that service delivery affects them first. And we will never, as this administration, politicize service delivery. We spread it across all 7 regions. And if you were honest with yourself, you would agree with me. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Stop using green grass.
Sinamuva liyabukwa mfana. Sinamuva liyabukwa.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Thank you for your response, and I'm certain that those that have ears has heard how you responded. Thank you. Councillor Mkonza, I think the Mayor has responded. Is that a point of order?
Yes, Madam Speaker. I just want to put it on record that the mayor is misleading the residents by saying we did not acknowledge.
It can't
We did
be.
not acknowledge the city.
Councillor Nkonza, it can't be. The mayor has responded and it's done. And I'm advised that you are standing up for wrong reasons. Legal is advising me that. Can you have a seat, please, Councillor Nkonza?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The last item, announcements and closure.
Thank you, councillors, and thank you very much for listening, and thank you for all the responses, as well as for the mayor that responded. Councillors, please be reminded about our last meeting prior to the elections, the forthcoming budget meeting and debate scheduled for the 14th and 15th May 2024, respectively. Thank you very much, councillors. We've come to the end of our meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Bye. Councillor Zita, the whip of the EFF for the day, can I see you, please?